So wonderful to be here, as it always is when I am invited. This is my first time at the pulpit in 2025. So again, always wonderful to be here, and I am in some ways very impressed by this crowd. I think this is the largest crowd that I've ever spoken to at Unity. So yay you. I'm also a bit apprehensive, not because of any fear of speaking to crowds per se, but usually in a large group, I can always guess there's somebody in the room that I owe money to. So if that is the case, just know on Sabbath I don't handle cash. So call me tomorrow. I'd like to talk a bit about that portion of the Gospels called the Transfiguration. I'm guessing that most, if not all of you, have some background with traditional Christianity, and you will remember that Jesus and a few disciples went up to a mountain, and it says that Jesus was transfigured. That is to say that the disciples who were with him all of a sudden realized firsthand, this just isn't any carpenter's son. This is a very special person. It has to be quite important in the development of Christianity because the account appears in three Gospels in full, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and it is referred to in John. So clearly, something major happened. And it also occurred to me that there is a very similar account in Hinduism in the scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Several years ago, I did a recitation of the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita to introduce that scripture to people who may not know about it. And here's the thing about the Gita. The Bhagavad Gita literally means the song of God. It is a scripture, and yet it is also a song or a poem. And in the Hindu tradition, we don't just study the Bhagavad Gita. We don't just read it for inspiration. But the Gita is performed. It is sung, it is recited, it is chanted, it is reenacted. In a similar way, the book of Psalms, right? So theologians over the centuries have studied it to define certain theologies in both Judaism and Christianity. But all of that would probably be worthless if the Psalms were not sung. The Psalms were created to be sung. In the same way, the Bhagavad Gita was written to be shared in some form of performance, whether it's individual or in assembly. And so today I would like to share that part of the Gita that mirrors to some degree the transfiguration of Jesus. Now, here's a few things to know. If you're not familiar with the Gita, and I do know there are some new faces here, so not everybody might be familiar. The Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between Krishna, who symbolizes God, and Arjuna, his disciple. Now, in the same way that various Christian denominations might define Jesus differently, clearly you define Jesus different from the Baptist, Krishna is defined differently depending on any particular Hindu movement. Some people believe he is, like many Christians believe, Jesus is absolutely God, and other people simply believe that he was one who became enlightened and who is a vehicle for God realization. So this is a dialogue. Krishna is explaining all of the great metaphysics to Arjuna. And at one point, after Krishna has relayed all of this very powerful information on the nature of divinity, the nature of humanity, how the two intersect. After all of this, Arjuna begs Krishna, please let me see you in your fullest divine form. Krishna says, okay, we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going, first of all, tell you what you're going to hear, then you will hear it, then I will tell you what you heard. And because this may be new ground for some of you. So Krishna agrees and he gives him special eyesight. He says, you can't comprehend my divinity without this divine eyesight which I shall give to you. And a couple of things to remember while you're hearing this. That first of all, there's a couple of portions of this where there's a litany of terms you've never heard of. Those are celestial beings. It basically be like saying angels and demons, cherubim, seraphim, whatever. So when you don't get stumped over that, that's who those entities are. Also, there is a mention of hell. In Hinduism, there is no eternal hell as in the typical Muslim or Christian understanding of hell. It is understood that when souls depart from this earth, they go to an astral plane, and that plane can be on the darker side if one has lived a dark life. But it's always temporary, because every soul ultimately will merge into the divine after it goes through the spiritual work it needs to. There are three characters, Arjuna, Krishna, and Sanjay, who's the narrator. And also, the word awful appears in here as describing God. But remember, the word awful originally simply means that which inspires awe. So I don't want you to think that God is awful as in a bad entity. So at this point, Arjuna has just been taught about the secrets of what the soul is. The soul is the Adhyatman, the prime aspect of divinity which is in all of us. And he's asking Krishna, please let me see you in full divinity. So Krishna says, thus for my soul's peace have I heard from thee the unfolding of the mystery supreme named Adhyatman, comprehending which my darkness is dispelled. For now I know, O lotus-eyed, whence is the birth of men and whence their death, and what the majesties of thine immortal rule. Fain I would see, as thou thyself declarest it, sovereign Lord, the likeness of thy beauty, of thy form, wholly revealed. O thou divinest one, if this can be, if I may bear the sight, make thyself visible, Lord of all prayers. Show me thy very self, the eternal God. Krishna responds, gaze then, thou son of Pritha, I manifest for thee my 100,000 shapes that clothe my mystery. I show thee all my semblances, infinite, rich, divine. My changeful hues, my countless forms, see in this face of mine, Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwins, and Maruts. See numbers, unwondered Indian prince, revealed to none save thee. I show thee all my semblances, infinite, rich, divine. Lo, see what is alive and what is death. All are in me. Behold, this is a universe. Look what is alive and dead. I gather all in one in me. Gaze as thy lips have said on God, eternal, very God. See me what thou prayest. Thou canst not know with mortal eyes, Arjuna, ever mayest. Therefore I give thee sense divine. Have other eyes new light. And look, this is my glory, unveiled to mortal sight. Then, O king, to God so saying, stood to Pritha's son displaying all the splendor, wonder, dread of his vast almighty head. Out of countless eyes beholding, out of countless mouths commanding, countless mystic forms enfolding, in one form, supremely standing, countless radiant glories wearing, countless heavenly weapons bearing, crowned with garlands of star clusters, robed in garb of radiant lusters. breathing from his perfect presence, breaths of every subtle essence, of all heavenly odor shedding, blinding brilliance overspreading, boundless beautiful all spaces with his all-regarding faces, so he showed. If there should rise suddenly in the skies sunburst of 1,000 suns flooding earth with beams undeemed of, then might be that Holy One's radiance and majesty dreamed of. So did Pandu's son behold all this universe unfold, all its huge diversity in one form, breathing from his perfect presence, seeing that divinity in front, behind. But sore amazed, thrilled, overfilled, dazzled and dazed, Arjuna knelt and bowed and prayed. Arjuna stayed. Lo, yea, I have seen, I see. Lord, all is wrapped in thy glorious frame. The creatures of earth and heaven and hell in thy divine form dwell, and in thy countenance shine all the features of Brahma sitting lone upon his lotus throne, of saints and sages and the serpent races, Ananta Vasuki. Yea, mightiest Lord, I see thy thousand arms and breasts and faces and eyes. And lo, nowhere center shifts wherever soul's gaze lift, thy central self all wielding and all willing. Infinite King, I see thee honored among thee, the club, the shell, the discus. See thee burning in beams insufferable, lighting earth and heaven and hell with brilliance blinding, glowing, flashing, turning darkness into day. Look I whichever way. Ah, Lord, I worship thee, the undivided, the uttermost of thought, the treasure palace wrought to hold the wealth of the worlds, the shield provided virtue's law, the fount whence life stream draws all waters of all rivers of all being, the one unborn, unchanging and unblending, with might and majesty thought past seeing. Silver of moon and gold of sun are rolled from thy great eyes. Thy visage beaming tender throughout the stars and skies doth to warm life surprise thy universe. The worlds are filled with wonders of thy perfections. Space, star-sprinkled in void place, from pole to pole of the blue, from bound to bound, hath thee in every spot. Thee, where thou art not, O holy marvelous form, nowhere is found. O mystic awful one, at sight of thee made known, the lower gods draw nigh thee. They fold their palms and bow, body, breast, and brow, and whispering worship, laud and magnify thee. Rishis and siddhis cry, hail, highest majesty. From sage and singer breaks the hymn of glory in dulcet harmony, sounding the praise of thee, while countless companies take up the story. Rudras, who ride the storms, the Aditya shining forms, Vishwash, Usmapas, Maruts, Gandhavs, Raksas, Siddhas, and Ashuras, these see thee and revere in sudden-stricken fear. Yea, the world, seeing thee in form stupendous, with faces manifold, with unnumbered eyes, vast arms, members tremendous, flanks lit by sun and star, feet planted near and far, tushes of terror, mouths wrathful, for thee, adore as I adore thee. I mark thee strike the skies with front and wondrous wise, huge rainbow-painted glitterings, and thy mouth opened, and orbs which see all things whatever be, east, west, north, and south. O eyes of God, O head, my strength of soul is fled, gone is heart's force, rebuked is mind's desire, when I behold thee so, with awful brows aglow, with burning lips, fierce as those flames which shall consume at close of all. Earth, heaven, I see no earth and heaven. Thee, Lord of Lords, I see. Thee only thee. So what did we just hear? I'll take a guess. The greatest message in that soliloquy is unity, absolute and pure unity, where Arjuna the disciple realizes that nothing is separate from divinity. Everything is within divinity. Only God exists. We are simply aspects of that divinity. We are like the small flames that come out of a stove jet. There's only one fire, but it appears as many little flames on that burner. He sees that for the very first time, and he can't comprehend it all right at that moment. But he has a glimpse now of that divinity that he can attain in the same way that we have that same ability. But remember, he can't see without special vision, right? So Krishna says, your eyesight isn't made for this splendor, this magnificence. I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to give you the ability to see me. And every once in a while, we are gifted with these peak experiences. But later on in the Gita, Arjuna realizes he can't handle it. He says at one point, while Krishna is still in this transfigured mode, he says, dear Lord, retake thy shape for pity's sake, so that earthly eyes can bear to see thee. He wants Krishna to go from this transfigured form back to the form that he knew. It was more comfortable for him because he hadn't yet evolved to the point where he could handle a vision like this, an experience like this, at this point in his spiritual development. A lot of times we wonder, why can't God be made known to me? We read about these experiences in scriptures or other people's personal accounts, but it's not happening to me. We need new eyesight. We need to develop ourselves to that point where we are able to withstand that splendor. That splendor that Arjuna says, he says, the three worlds set before thee adore as I adore thee, quake as I quake to witness so much splendor. So that's our homework. To attain that spiritual state where we can experience the divine. And when we do, we realize, as the Hindu scriptures say, that supreme state is when the meditator, the act of meditation, and the object of meditation become one. So, namaste.
Hey, it's Reverend Mike here. I just wanted to stop for a moment before you get on with your day and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It means the world to us, and I just wanted to let you know if there's anything that we can do to make your experience even better, please do not hesitate to reach out by going to our website. I also wanted to offer you the opportunity for us to get together and sit down so I could get to know you a little bit better and answer any questions that you have. I can either do that by either getting together in person, have a cup of coffee, or we can meet online via Zoom. If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at michael@courage2thrive.com. And lastly, if you find these messages are helping you, we would be tremendously grateful if you'd consider donating to the center. The best and the easiest way to do that is simple. Just go to our website. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Hope you're doing well. God bless, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.